The Mayor will now provide an oral update of up to 5 minutes in length on matters occurring since the publication of his report. Welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning. I've been asked for 3 urgent oral updates, and given the topics cover some of the issues I was planning to raise in my opening statement, I'll go straight to the answers. The first one's on Charing Cross Police Station from Assembly Member Roberts. I'm appalled, sickened and angry at the behaviour exposed by the BBC of serious police misconduct and criminality at Charing Cross Police Station. It was difficult to watch police officers, those who are tasked with keeping our communities safe, display such blatant racism, misogyny, anti-Muslim hatred and excessive use of force. I fully support the investigation by the Independent Office for Police Conduct, which must leave no stone unturned. Since being informed about this matter, I've met with the Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner to discuss the horrifying events and the further actions that need to be taken. I've also met with the IRPC and been in contact with the Home Secretary. I'm quite clear there must be zero tolerance of this kind of behaviour, a transformation in Met culture and no hiding place for officers.
The Mayor began by providing an urgent oral update on several pressing matters since the publication of his report. He addressed 3 main issues, starting with the situation at Charing Cross Police Station, expressing deep concern at the misconduct exposed by the BBC. The behavior revealed, including racism, misogyny, anti-Muslim hatred, and excessive use of force, was described as appalling and unacceptable. He emphasized full support for the Independent Office for Police Conduct's investigation and stated that there must be zero tolerance for such behavior within the Metropolitan Police.
Their position of trust. The second question is in relation to the pro-Palestinian protests from Assembly Hall. What happened in a synagogue in Manchester last week, in fact 7 days today, was a heinous terrorist attack on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. It's heartbreaking that many Jewish Londoners will be feeling even more afraid and worried about their safety. In London, the Met has stepped up patrols with an increased police presence designed to reassure our Jewish communities. Places of worship must be safe havens, and Jewish communities must be able to live and worship free from the fear of harassment, intimidation or violence. It's clear there's much more to do to rid our society of the poison of anti-Semitism, and we must redouble our efforts to stamp out this vile hatred. On the day of the appalling attack and over the weekend, there were some pre-planned protests about Israel's actions in Gaza. I urge those who are considering going ahead with those protests to be mindful of how our Jewish communities are feeling in the wake of the attack. Protest is a cornerstone of our democracy, but we also have a responsibility to be cognizant of how our words and actions can make others in our city feel. Now more than ever, I urge Londoners to stand together and be united in our rejection of hatred. And the third question is from Assembly Member Giorgio on New Towns. Following the publication of the New Towns Task Force report.
Following the Charing Cross update, the Mayor addressed recent events surrounding a pro-Palestinian protest and a terrorist attack at a synagogue in Manchester. He acknowledged the fear and anxiety experienced by Jewish communities in London and detailed measures taken by the Metropolitan Police to reassure residents, including increased patrols around places of worship. He stressed the importance of maintaining safe havens for all communities and called for renewed efforts to combat anti-Semitism and promote unity among Londoners.
I welcome the announcement that Cruise Hill and Chase Park in Enfield and Thames Mead in Greenwich are identified as 2 of 12 potential locations for the government's New Towns programme. Both sites represent and present significant opportunities to help address London's acute housing need, which is 88,000 new homes per year, through the creation of sustainable and high-quality neighbourhoods. Transport investment and devolution at each site will be critical to unlock the housing numbers associated with New Town designation, 21,000 homes in Enfield and at least 15,000 homes in Greenwich. Significant further detail is required before any final decision is made. I look forward to supporting the ambitions of this government to address London's acute housing need and to working with the local boroughs to ensure that the proposed new towns create fantastic communities where Londoners can live healthy, fulfilling lives.
Ask Assembly Member Roberts to begin.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Mr. Matt, and belated happy birthday for yesterday. You have accepted the description of the Metropolitan Police as institutionally racist, misogynist.
The Mayor also highlighted the responsibility of protest organizers to consider the impact of their actions on vulnerable communities. While protest remains a cornerstone of democracy, he urged participants to be mindful of the emotional and psychological effect on Jewish Londoners in the aftermath of the synagogue attack. His statement emphasized the need for collective responsibility and solidarity in rejecting hatred and standing together as a city.
And homophobic. However, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner does not accept that definition. Which of you is right?
I think I am, based upon the evidence over successive decades, based upon the work of Dame Louise Casey recently, Sir William Macpherson more than 20 years ago. You're seeing cultural practices, systems and processes that, in my view, demonstrate institutionalized discrimination based on people's color of skin, based upon their sexuality, based upon their gender. This is not a few rotten apples. This is not a few wrong uns. This is an institution that is worthy of change, but also needs to change.
Thank you. Quite rightly, the IOPC is looking into the individual cases raised within the Panorama documentary. But once their investigation has concluded, do you think it will be appropriate for there to be a further inquiry into the Metropolitan Police?
So we probably shouldn't talk about the
No, quite.
for obvious reasons.
Turning to the issue of new towns, the mayor welcomed government proposals identifying potential sites in Enfield and Greenwich. He outlined the opportunity these developments present to address London's housing crisis, including construction of 21,000 homes in Enfield and at least 15,000 in Greenwich. He emphasized that successful delivery would require significant transport investment, devolution, and collaboration with local authorities to ensure sustainable and high-quality communities where residents can thrive.
But in any event, A.M. Roberts will remember that one of the recommendations from Dame Louise Casey was to have a check in 2-3 years' time about how the recommendations have been implemented. I'll be announcing in due course what form that will take.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Can I bring in Assembly Member Boff?
This is like deja vu, isn't it, Mr. Mayor? How effective were your actions in 2022 when we had a similar scandal?
Well, it's worth looking at what's happened since 2020, but also the response now versus 2022. He'll remember back in 2022, when I lost confidence in the Commission, I was criticised by Conservatives for doing so. In fact, the Conservatives summoned myself and Tom Windsor before the Police and Crime Committee on more than one occasion and refused to accept serious problems in the police service. I'm hoping this time there'll be a difference from the Conservatives.
Assembly Member Roberts questioned the mayor on his description of the Metropolitan Police as institutionally racist, misogynistic, and homophobic. In contrast with the current commissioner's denial, the mayor defended his position, citing decades of evidence and reports demonstrating systemic discrimination based on race, gender, and sexuality. He stressed that these issues are not isolated incidents, but ingrained cultural practices that require comprehensive institutional change.
Also a big difference from the response of the current commissioner to the previous commissioner. And what's happened since 2022, there's at least 10 things I could set out that are different. There are now 200 officers who are employed to proactively uncover and deal with wrongdoing. Since 2022, there have been 1,500 officers who have been exited and staff from the police service. Operations Dragnet, Trawl, Onyx and Assure have led to the departure of hundreds of individuals due to vetting issues. We've also have internal reporting of wrongdoing has trebled since 2022. It's now more difficult to be a police officer. Previously, the vetting led to a 5% rejection of officers who want to be officers. Now it's 11%, a big difference from then. Since then, all 40,000 police officers and staff have received bespoke training on the values expected. We've invested £12 million from city.
The discussion then focused on whether further inquiries into Metropolitan Police would be appropriate following the independent office for police conduct's investigation. The mayor referenced recommendations from Dame Louise Casey to monitor progress over time and promised to announce the form of follow-up action in due course. The emphasis remained on transparency, accountability, and the implementation of meaningful reforms to ensure long-term cultural change within the force.
In a leadership academy, incredibly important in terms of supervision of officers. We drafted a private member's bill to address the issue of the need to reform police misconduct and performance framework, and I'm really pleased this government has taken on board the changes we asked for in the Veteran Regulations 2025 and the amendments which are really important. There is now a presumption of dismissal for proven gross misconduct. Serious criminal offences now automatically amount to gross misconduct. A presumption of accelerated hearings for former police officers, and chief constables, because of our lobbying, now have a right of appeal to a police appeals tribunal. And the final point in answer to the really serious question raised by the member is he should compare and contrast the response of this commissioner once he discovered wrongdoing versus the attitude of the previous commissioner when we discovered wrongdoing.
Assembly member Buff asked about the effectiveness of the mayor's previous actions during a similar scandal in 2022. The mayor outlined significant progress since that time, including the exit of 1,500 officers and staff, the creation of 200 new positions to proactively address wrongdoing, and internal reforms designed to improve vetting supervision and reporting. Training for all officers and investment in leadership development were highlighted as critical steps toward transforming police culture.
Did your actions work?
Well, there are 15,000 officers and staff who've been kicked out of the police service because of our actions. There is now a culture where whistleblowing has more than doubled. You've seen a situation now where, because of our actions, this commission understands the importance of taking firm action fast. I can't share with the committee yet, with the Assembly yet, some of the changes that he'll see in the next few weeks, but he'll see in the next few weeks examples of the difference we've made in the form of what the IPC will be doing and what happens subsequently.
As a result of, I mean, you used Charing Cross Station as a reason for getting rid of the previous commissioner. Who should we get rid of now?
There were two big issues that I had.
The mayor also emphasized legislative progress, including reforms to police misconduct framework, the introduction of presumptions of dismissal for gross misconduct, and new rights of appeal for former officers. He contrasted the current proactive approach with past failures, noting that whistleblowing and accountability measures have strengthened considerably. He stressed that these changes demonstrate a clear commitment to building a police service that aligns with public expectations and values.
Operation Hotton, and I was criticised by the Conservatives for doing so. One was the response to the serious issues raised by Hotton, by the then Commissioner. The Tories were happy with her response, I wasn't. And secondly, a lack of plan to win back trust and confidence from the former Commissioner. The Tories were happy with her lack of a plan. I wasn't. I lost confidence in the former Commissioner. The Tories were unhappy with that. She decided to resign, and I support her.
You seem to be fighting a party political battle here. This is not about party politics. It's about the protection of Londoners.
It's really important to make this point. Had it been for the Conservatives, the former Commissioner would still be in her job, and things would have got worse, not better. It is really important to explain to Londoners the difference that's been made because of leadership from the current Commissioner and his new team and from City Hall. And I won't resile from ensuring Londoners.
Responding to questions about leadership accountability, the mayor outlined past failures of confidence in former commissioners and described the decisive actions taken under the current administration. He highlighted the difference in response, noting faster action, greater transparency, and improved oversight compared with previous leadership. The focus remained on protecting Londoners rather than engaging in party politics, with measurable outcomes reflecting positive change in police culture and governance.
Get the police service we deserve, rather than one that is institutionally racist, sexist, and homophobic.
Who knows within the police service that things have changed?
Well, the 1,500 former police officers and staff will be Exhibit A, that things have changed. The 200 additional officers in the Professional Standards Directorate are Exhibit B, that things have changed. The speeding up of disciplinary hearings is Exhibit C. The fact that we now have officers trained in leadership and supervision is Exhibit E. The fact that you've got a situation now where every police officer and staff knows what is expected of them as Met Police officers is different to what it was before. The fact that we have a situation where officers are coming forward reporting other officers is also incredibly important. It's now more difficult to join the police service than it was before. It's far too easy to be a police officer in the past and far too difficult to get rid of a police officer in the past.
Finally, the mayor summarized the concrete indicators of transformation within the Metropolitan Police, including stronger professional standards, accelerated disciplinary processes, comprehensive leadership training, and widespread awareness among officers of expected behaviors. The creation of a culture where misconduct is reported and addressed, coupled with stricter vetting and accountability, illustrates the progress achieved. The overall message underscored that Londoners now benefit from a police service that is more ethical, professional, and responsive to public needs.